Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Yes, hot damn ho, here we go again. I am
Suckers
DJ
in the-
Sir Daniel.
God, so good. And my name is Jay Ray, and very excited. But I also sometimes go by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, people?
Welcome back to another episode of Q Points, your safe space for meaningful conversations around Black music, Black creatives, and all things good and Black. And today we're talking about probably J Ray. I've given her a new title.
Okay.
In honor of the confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling our special topic, our subject of the day. I'm referring to MC Lyte now as the Speaker of the Hip Hop House.
Oh, you know what? I absolutely agree with that. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, more. That is such a great way to describe her.
Absolutely no way around it. I just think that before we dive on in about MC Lyte, I know you had some shout outs. You wanted to acknowledge some folks.
I do. So, yeah, of course, we talked about it on last week's show. I was in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago at the Podcast Movement Evolutions conference and met so many dope folks. One of them was a sister by the name of Crystal Hill. Crystal is the director of podcasts for Black Love, and I'm going to drop the link to their website in the chat so y'all can check out some of their shows. But what was really cool is I was on a live talking about the conference, and Crystal was on it, and she shouted out, Q Points, and just wanted to you know what I'm saying, and wanted to encourage people to watch our show, and we appreciate that so much. Yeah, man, like it felt good. It was nice, and I'm like, oh, that's dope.
That's what's up. Thank you so much, Keisha. We appreciate you.
It was Crystal.
Crystal, I'm sorry. Where did I get Keisha? No, thank you, Crystal. We appreciate you. And you had there's some other people, right?
Yeah, so we did so when we were doing the particular live, we were really just kind of spending time talking about, shouting out from the conference. But this week a couple of dope things happened. So we met with Mike Bryant. We got some dope stuff coming with brother Mike Bryant. He's out of Los Angeles. Amazing, amazing, amazing dude. And also want to shout out Sequoia Houston as well, who I met when I was at Podcast Movement Evolution. So lots of people doing great things. And also want to send love again to Trey. He goes by Something Severe on social media, but he left us a review over on Podchaser, which all of you should do too. Go on over there and leave us a review. And I'm going to tell you once again, I know I'm going to say it again, but it's important because it does help us get discovered. And Trey left us a review over there. So thank you so much, Trey, for doing that. So
thank you, Trey. So, you ready to do this? You ready to?
Let's do it. I want to settle in. Like, this is one of them conversations that I feel like my childhood is being, revisited.
Yeah. I so okay. The memories are flooding back. On my 13th birthday, um, I remember getting um lots of money. No, was it my birthday or was it great? No, I remember getting, yeah, quite a bit of cash
Mm-hmm.
because I was 13. I was turning a teenager. That was a big deal. And so I would get I took that money and I had been bitten by the hip hop bug, something crazy. And the first thing I ran out and bought was Light as a Rock on cassette. First thing I bought, I think I ran down to the Wiz
Mm-hmm.
on Fulton Street because of course, I grew up in Brooklyn. I got it on Fulton Street, and yeah, just remember cracking it open and hitting play. And when Light versus Vanna White came on,
Mm-hmm.
it was just this really full production, full sound that just washed over me, and I was like, "Yo, what am I about to experience?" And my mind was cracked open from that point.
Yeah. So I was introduced to MC Lyte. I don't think Wani is on yet, but I know that she will eventually see this or hear this,
Mhm.
however she takes it in. But I've told this story before. So when I was in sixth grade, this is 1988. When I was in sixth grade, um, we would have breaks. We would have like a day where it was like not like they weren't teaching like that day. It was more like,
Mhm.
hey, the students can be here. It's like a fun day. We would do like pizza and stuff like that, and students can kind of chill out. And Wani brought in uh, a videotape, a video cassette tape, and we could watch whatever we wanted to watch. And she brought in her music videos. And so we have literally hip hop, Yo MTV Raps videos playing in our classroom.
Mm.
And I had never seen, I had heard MC Lyte before, but I had never seen her that I could recall. But Light as a Rock was on that videotape.
Mm.
And one, it's the house version, which is
Yes.
the definitive version of that song for me. I know there's an original version, which is fine, but the house version is the one for me.
I play it any chance I can get. I play that version.
Yes. So that song came on, and it literally to this day, and I've said this many times, has my favorite verse in hip hop is on that song. But it was seeing her, it was a blackety black video. She's like on a throne. You have like the little girl with the black doll. Like seeing this black woman, and it was a whole thing. And just the beginning. Do you understand the metaphoric phrase "light as a rock"? It's explaining how heavy the young lady is. Like I'll never forget.
Yes, my brother.
You know what I'm saying? And here she is from Planet Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? MC Lyte as a rock.
Right. Speaking
What?
of yes, and speaking of Planet Brooklyn, there have been rap artists from Brooklyn before MC Lyte, but for whatever reason, I guess she came along at an age where we became very cognizant of rappers.
Mhm.
We're like knee deep in the golden era.
Right.
So we're rappers are becoming the neighborhood stars, and they're
Hmm.
becoming global stars as well. And MC Lyte has always represented Brooklyn. So knowing that this young girl she was not that much older than us.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, she was here's part of the folklore. It was like there was all these discussions about, yeah, my sister goes to school with her, and we all had like these three degrees of separation from MC Lyte. It's like we all knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that knew MC Lyte and saw her down at Albee Square Mall, or they ran into her at Grand Army Plaza at the library. And so there was all this folklore mythology about MC Lyte being, a neighborhood princess, a neighborhood
Hmm.
girl who is Up here, she's on an album. We're seeing her videos on television. This is huge for kids from Brooklyn, growing
Wow.
up in this golden era of hip hop. And I'll take it a step further. The offices for First Priority Music were literally on the other side of Eastern Parkway. I lived off of Utica Avenue, and Utica Avenue crosses Eastern Parkway. The offices were literally on the other side of Eastern Parkway. And one day I would get the address off the back of the album, the
Hmm.
cassette, and I said, "This isn't far. I'm gonna walk over there and see if I see the place or see if I can see MC Lyte." I walked over there and I saw the First Priority logo on the door, and I was like, "That's it. It's really there." And what I actually sent a letter um to the fan club
Of
and
course.
got a response, and they sent me a T-shirt. And no, I think I paid for a T-shirt or something. I can't remember.
Hmm.
And it didn't come. So a young lady called from the office and said, "Come down to the office so you could pick up your T-shirt," and which was major. I went, knocked on the door, went in, and to me, this is like a big deal. I
Right.
could have been, I may as well have walked into LaFace Records at the height of the 90s.
Right.
But if I look back on it now, it was probably like a really rundown
Right.
office building on the back of a bodega in Brooklyn. And I walked in, and the pictures are on the wall, and she's like, "What color do you want?" And I got green, and I absolutely hate that I never kept that First Priority Music T-shirt.
We don't understand until we get older, man.
I wish I kept that T-shirt. That T-shirt would
Mm.
have been everything right now. I'd be still be squeezing my big, my big 40-something-year-old self into that T-shirt that would probably fall apart if I put it on, but I would still try to make it work. A vintage First Priority Music T-shirt.
Man, it's amazing how. So just thinking about that album. Okay, so we're gonna put the album cover on the screen, okay, because I think this is important. This is the Light as a Rock album
Mm,
cover. There's a
yes.
lot happening on this cover, and I didn't think about this until I was actually looking at this today. The fact that you have the competing conversations that are taking place in this cover, right? You have the
Mm-hmm.
woman that clearly DJ K Rock is like, she's walking away. I need her to not be. And then you have MC Lyte and this huge man
Yes.
who she is holding on to. So it's like that woman is walking away and Light is like, no, I'm firmly planted right here. So K Rock,
Mm-hmm.
get ready because we're about to do this other thing. You can't follow her. You need to stay right here.
Absolutely. And yes, Lorenzo, thank you for joining. Yes, MC Light was dope as hell. And to your point about this album cover, what I see even further is like y'all are chasing this particular image of a woman, but here MC Light is "Take Me as I Am." What is that? Fila sweatsuit with the pages
I'm putting it
sticking
back
out the
up.
pocket.
Yep.
Um, uh, you know, Pair of dope Nikes. The door knockers and the cursive L.
Yep.
All of that. I promise you, she was down on Fulton Street and got everything that she's wearing on this album cover. Um, yes, and so yes, I think that was done on purpose. Now that we look back on it, now that I look back on it with fresh eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and to your point again, the conversation is actually still having.
Yep.
This album cover is still happening, and we're seeing some young ladies in the rap game that are going through this whole juxtaposition that's going on here,
Yep.
and also the bodyguard. Like I thought it was so ill. I had never seen MCs posing with their bodyguards on album covers, much less women MCs.
Yep.
Here she is with I think his name was Bigfoot. and
Okay.
he passed away not too long after that picture was taken.
Wow.
But yeah, it was like it was known that because she was so petite,
Hmm.
that they made sure that she had protection around her. They had to keep people away from her, which I thought was very pretty intense at that time. It
Yeah.
was like they foreshadowing of groupies and frantic fans at that time.
One of, and I never thought of this, and I think it was probably also rare because she had a team around her
Hmm.
that was a crack team. Like she's got the audio too and King of Chill on production. She's got the label backing with Nat Robinson and all of that, and she's got a DJ that was squarely present in all
Hmm.
of her big moments. Like K Rock was as much was like had her back through all of that stuff, right? And she was set up different as a woman, as an MC. She was set up like the dudes was set up. Like it felt like she was showing up like they would show up. You know what I'm saying? I got my team. I got all the stuff I need to rock.
Absolutely. She had Stetson Sonic on production. Like,
What?
they had Audio 2,
Hmm.
and meanwhile Audio 2 and Stetson Sonic, because they share production on the album,
Hmm.
they have probably the biggest two of the biggest rap records ever
Yeah,
in the
sampled
golden era.
endlessly.
Sampled endlessly, top billing.
Yep.
And Stetson Sonic, and Stetson Sonic also had Ghost Stetson,
Hmm.
which both rang off crazy in clubs. When you heard Ghost Stetson, Legend, they still talk about it to this day. Legend has it, when you heard that song, that means people were about to get robbed.
Word.
Yeah, there were certain songs that when they came on, you knew you were people was going to start robbing, because Brooklyn, and this is why KRS-One says it,
Hmm.
Brooklyn keeps on taking it.
Yeah.
Like, Brooklyn was known for kids for being rowdy and snatching chains, stealing,
Yes.
robbing people. It was frantic back in the mid '80s, because we are steadfast in the crack era,
Yeah.
and so people were getting it how they could. You had the crack dealers, you had the stick up kids, and so this music was literally chronicling all of these moments. And so here MC Lyte is standing, like you said, shoulder to shoulder with these guys, and they're propping her up with a foundation of badass beats. I mean,
Yes.
they needed her to ring off in the club the same way they were ringing off in the club.
Yeah, but I want to jump into real quick before we switch off of this. I want to show this picture because I think it's so dope. So
Yeah.
you of course got the audio too. You got Giz and Milk D, and you have King of Chill in this. Of course,
Mhm.
MC Lyte there, and then the engineer. This person I had to pull the name, but the engineer's name is Yoram Vazan, and so this is '88 at the Firehouse Studios over in Brooklyn. And just looking at this, there is a confidence in all of their faces about
Yep.
what they are creating. Like it didn't feel, and it felt like Light was very sure about what she was coming to do. Like she didn't look meek or like they were in charge. She's sitting at the board. That matters.
It absolutely matters. And I think when we talk about MC Lyte, the first thing that people reference regarding Lyte is her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, J. Ray, they MC Lyte and her team were very intentional about everything. So I'm pulling a quote from. First of all, this is a very dope book. It was written by Clover Hope.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Motherlode: 100 Plus Women Who Made Hip Hop.
Okay.
Really dope book. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. But there's a chapter dedicated, of course, to MC Lyte.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts off when MC Lyte first started rapping at 14
Mm.
years old. She sounded like a 14-year-old girl. To deepen her tone, she worked with a vocal coach,
Wow.
Lucian George Sr., whose three sons, the George brothers, were members of, get this, R&B group Full Force, the producers of Roxanne, Roxanne. Every Saturday, George Sr. would go to Lyte's house in Brooklyn and teach her how to manipulate the deeper part of her voice using Salt and Pepper songs as reference points. Isn't that's a full hip hop moment, because MC Lyte has always referenced the fact that the first song that she learned or that she would rap to was the Showstopper by Salt and Pepper.
Right.
And we know that Herbie has been very vocal, or Salt and Pepper has been very vocal, that he hated hearing high-pitched girl rappers. So Herbie made it a point for Salt and Pepper to spit from their diaphragms. That's why they had a deeper sound, or a better cadence of sound coming from their diaphragms. And so here is MC Lyte getting coached from Full Force's dad on how to spit using a deeper timbre. And so here people thought that she was just like out the box with this deeper voice, but no, she actually trained from 14, because that album didn't come out till she was about 16, 17.
Wow.
So there was some work done in between there.
Wow. So I want us to get to MC Lyte and the crack era, but before we do that, of course, we bringing back a thing, y'all. So we about to bring back Q Points top MC Lyte moments. Okay, so we're gonna do let's share our number threes.
Okay,
and
who wants to go first?
Why don't you go first? You go first, Sir Daniel. You want to go? So your number three, Sir Daniel.
All right, so my number three, top three MC Lyte songs ever. My number three is an album cut off of Act Like You Know, which was the third studio album, and it is called Take It Off. And Take It Off is a Spoonie G remake, a Spoonie G cover. I think and it was produced by DJ Doc, and what I liked about it, there was a heavy 808 on this rap record. And I think also what I liked about it, MC Lyte, of course, is known for her storytelling. And so the original song is a story about Spoonie G is a ladies' man. And MC Lyte is literally taking on the same steez, but as a fly chick who's talking to dudes the way she talking that talk to the fellas. And so I just found it really interesting. Like there's a part in the song where she's like, met this dude at an amusement park. He was good to go, and it was after dark. And I was like, okay. And then they talk about going under the boardwalk, and I'm like, wow, okay. MC Lyte is really coming out of her shell, because at this time, MC Lyte never made references to dudes except for Sam. Poor Sam.
And George, but we're going to get to that. Yes, we're going to get to that. So my number three is Ice Cream Dream.
Goody.
You're right. Here's why I ended up. So I'm going to tell you what almost happened. Like, I truly did I was like, is Light as a Rock, like, the house remix gonna be like my number three? Like, that makes sense, right? But what I decided to do was lean into what I play the most. And weirdly enough, the MC Lyte song I play the most is Ice Cream Dream. Of course, this song was produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis from the Mo Money soundtrack. To your point a minute ago, Sir Daniel, right? The Act Like You Know record was a pivot for MC Lyte. So Ice Cream Dream further deepened that conversation about talking about a dude, talking about like what he could deliver, the ice cream, a sweet, tasty chocolate all the way through. Like, she really leaned into this storytelling, right? But what I like about this joint is, one, it's a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis production, and you really can't kind of go wrong with that. And then two, it's right in the height of the New Jack Swing era, so it's a jam. Like, you can dance to it today. And it has a dope vocal hook on it. And so, yeah, I don't even remember who's singing the hook. I should probably know that. It's probably Lisa Keith or something like that. But I will look that up before the end of the show. But yeah, my number 3, Ice Cream Dream. So okay, we've been dancing around this, but this is MC Lyte as the storyteller. In particular, the storyteller who talks about substance use. Like, this is a consistent theme in particular her first like 4 albums.
All through a through line for all the out throughout the albums. You know, the first single from Light as a Rock was "I Cram to Understand You," which in and of itself is like, it's not a dance record. It's not, it's not a brag and boast record. She's literally telling a story, and the story is super pertinent to the time because, again, we are hardcore in the middle of the crack era. Like, cars are getting shot up, people are getting shot up, and standing outside of clubs, standing outside of school. Like, it was really, I think back on it, and I don't remember. As a kid, I still had a good time, but I do remember being cognizant of stay away from certain areas, stay away from these particular type of people. If they're driving a Maxima, they're wearing, if the dude is wearing Travel Fox and
Triple
gabardine
fat
jeans
gooses.
and triple fat gooses, and he's got the cells on state, and he drives a Maxima. Oh, and he got a pager. Oh, he's a drug dealer. He's a drug dealer, so you got to stay away from them and stay away from that element because, one, crack is whack.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Nancy Reagan and Nancy the Neck Reagan. And
stop. I mean, that's what they said. I mean, that's what they said.
Make up the story. I'm just repeating facts. But anyway, stay away from crack because crack is whack. And then on top of that, if stay away from drug dealers because you can end up getting hurt around them. And both of those sentiments were made in "I Cram to Understand You" and then "Not with a Dealer," and then other songs that spoke specifically from the voice of this young woman who was surrounded by the elements at that time of the drug era, of the crack era.
Yeah, man. Like, I think too, so we get album number 2, which, bruh, like, eyes on this. The Cha 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 is one of the dopest first joints from a sophomore release. It was very clear, like, this is not a sophomore jinx here, kids.
Nope.
We about to go even deeper into this, right? But so even on that record, you get Cappuccino, which is my favorite, which is such a fun song where she's like, I'm just going to get a cappuccino, and now I'm in a shootout. I'm in a shoot. How did this happen? Why, oh why did I need cappuccino? Just the storytelling from truly her perspective. Like, here I am just trying to live life, and then of course we get to the Act Like You Know record, and then Poor Georgie, which becomes like that one is the first joint to crack the top 100 for her. Like, that becomes like her first pop hit, even though it only got to 83, but it did a thing. But now she had been doing this through line of talking about dudes and these experiences that she was having throughout the records up to that point.
Yeah. First, back real quick, Cappuccino. I love that she shouted out a social worker named Hannah Smith, try to warn her, and Hannah Smith was in the video, which is which spoke to Lyte and her community connections. But yeah, that whole Sam was dealing with substance abuse, And then,
Hey,
Wani
Wani.
Money.
Yes, we shouted you out earlier.
Yes, absolutely. And so that she was very clear on talking about men in particular that were dealing with things. But then she talked, George died from, oh no, yeah, George
Yeah,
had a cancer diagnosis,
right.
and then he died. He died drinking and driving. So
Yeah,
it was like she was really trying to warn young men. I guess maybe the men in her life surrounding her, made her want to speak on these issues. But Light was always good about. She always wanted to provide some type of message,
absolutely.
some type of cautionary tale to young people, especially young girls.
Yes.
Stay away from those drug dealers. Not with a dealer. You make love while he makes deals.
Right. Because even thinking about the third record, the Act Like You Know record, she addresses HIV on that record. Actually, she does an HIV thing and like a crack thing in like one song. like
all of it.
Yeah. Definitely about making sure that there's a message in these joints. So now that we're here, now that we have
Act Like You Know,
now that we've arrived at Act Like You Know, let's talk about the era. Sir Daniel, I'm gonna let you kick this off. We got to talk about this era.
So as we showed you this very first album cover, and how the image that MC Lyte projected was very much fly tomboy, very golden era hip hop, round the way girl, door knockers, the whole nine. But whenever you saw MC Lyte in the magazines, especially Word Up, Rap Masters, Black Beat, she wasn't wearing any makeup.
Mm-mm.
She had the mushroom,
Right.
which every black girl I know, even if you couldn't afford to cut your hair in the mushroom, y'all were gathering back in a ponytail and foam curling the hair around to make your own mushrooms so y'all can look like that. Hey, shout out to you. I know you did it. But so she wasn't really doing a whole lot with her hair a lot of times. And maybe that's just, because she's a teenager. She was busy. She wasn't really trying to do all that. So I think on the heels of Act Like You Know coming out, and if you remember, if you were there, put it in the chat. Rap Masters magazine and Word Up, which were sister magazines, did this whole campaign of the MC Lyte makeover. And they colored her hair black, they added some extensions, lengthened it, framed her face a little bit more, gave her this like not over the top, but definitely gave her a makeover, changed the clothing, and then next thing you know, MC Lyte has full beat of makeup on her face, and then the When in Love video comes out, and not only are we introduced to this new look, but we're introduced to this new sound. There she is.
Yeah, look at her full beat.
Full beat. No more door knockers. We're going to, a little smaller, classier gold earrings, and we're in full cross color mode.
Yes.
By this point. Full cross color mode, big hats, the whole nine. And on top of that, so the music is produced by the brothers that did Poison for BBD.
Yeah.
I can't think.
I can't think of their name either.
So it's gonna come to me. So not only is the music produced by them, so she can have a hip hop smooth out on the R&B tip, Papa feel moment. MC Lyte is dancing, Jerry. Hard, like full choreo. It
was
for it.
Great. So the When in Love video was like, and this is the first single from the third album. And once again, her team. So pause. This is true. Wani did have the mushroom in 8th and 9th grade. I was there. So
I know you did, Wani. I know you did.
It was once again very pivotal. Like, you did the second record with Cha Cha Cha, and then the third record is like When in Love is the first single. And it's like now Video Soul is suddenly playing MC Lyte.
Yes. Very good point. Because Video Soul was strictly doing like the R&B
Mm-hmm.
joints.
Yep.
Very good point.
Yep. And all of a sudden, MC Lyte is on there. They were clearly making a beeline to one, hit the R&B charts, because she had been hitting the hip hop, the rap charts, right? They were clearly making a beeline to the R&B charts, because now you get a singy songy, you know what I'm saying, hook. You got MC Lyte in cross colors doing full choreo with a beat and like hair, and and talking about love, right?
And romance.
And
sex.
romance and sex and stuff, right? So it was, but during this time, Sir Daniel, all of a sudden, all of the women in rap were doing this. Like 90 and 91, all of a sudden, your tomboys, all of them.
All of them. Now, okay, so you have a picture. Can you ask? There's a picture of like all the it girls of the moment.
Yep.
Light is there in the middle.
Yep.
We've got Moni Love. We got Dana, MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Miss You Me, and MC Peaches and Jazzy Joyce. Look at them. It's just straight up, tomboys, they round away girls, door knockers. But to J Ray's point, when 1990 hit, which was a very huge year for women in rap, because a lot of them had all released records that year. Everybody must have sent out the memo to the labels and said, hey, this label said, hey, Queen Latifah's doing Fly Girl.
Fly Girl. Right.
She's singing on the hook. We need you to do something. Hey, MC Lyte is doing When in Love and she's dancing. We need you to do something. Hey, Yo-Yo's about to drop Black Pearl.
Right.
And she's got the French tuck.
Right.
Her braids are now
right.
a French tuck, and she's doing choreo too in a black sequins jacket. So it's like everybody got the memo. And I can hear it now. There's one. You girls are really, pretty cool and whatnot. You guys have sold a lot more records if you put on a little makeup and show a little skin, baby. You know how you guys do when you're doing your dance. And so I believe that
this is the executive. DJ Sir Daniel is the white executive.
All I need is a cigar. See, show a little skin, baby. Because Salt-N-Pepa had already been when Black's Magic dropped. Salt-N-Pepa was already setting the trend with expression and wearing, putting on more makeup, wearing different clothes, and the whole nine. So it didn't take long for everybody to follow suit. And yes, including MC Lyte had to get with the program. Had to get with those hard R&B, softer beats, but still rapping, still delivering on the flow part.
Yeah, but now here's where
Wolf and Epic, that's their name.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's right, that is their name. But what's interesting now is she's established herself as this really, really powerhouse MC. She has gone through this transition of image. And then, interestingly enough, all the women kind of pivoted back. They all had to do their hardcore album in like 93. So you get a UNITY. MC Lyte is talking about Roughnecks. And it was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah. Yes.
They all had to go back. They had to go back. To doing, you know what I'm saying, some hardcore stuff. And by 98, so MC Lyte then pivots again, because, we get the R&B stuff. She goes with Escape and Jermaine Dupri and then Missy Elliott, and then, but by 98, that first, and when we think about this, I didn't think about this until just now. 7 on 7 is MC Lyte's kind of in that first crop, right? She did have Legend that came out in 2015, but in that first crop, 7 on 7 happened in like 98. Queen Latifah's last hip hop album came out in 98. Because, rap, like Kim and Foxy pivoted the culture so hard. By 98, there was nothing left for Yo-Yo and Latifah and Lyte by that point.
and Moni.
And the
Like
game had totally changed.
the game definitely changed. I believe all of them left their respective labels.
Yep.
Like there was this whole shift. Like they all had major labels, Tommy Boy,
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic, and
Mm-hmm.
all of them wrapped it up. Like Light wrapped it up and left Atlantic, I think, after that 7 on 7
Yeah.
album. And you know how they do. They try to finish out a contract by let's
Mm-hmm.
do this last album and drop a greatest hits. Let's
Yep.
finish out your contract. It was very lovely to have you,
Yeah.
you know. And yeah, and then they had to make that pivot, and it's very, you know, it's a crossroads moment for a lot of artists at that time when a major shift, another wave is coming in on the art that you created, on the scene, the
Mm-hmm.
culture. And so you have to make those decisions like, am I going to try and ride this wave? How far am I willing to push myself, and not look stupid
Right.
or not look ridiculous doing something that doesn't isn't natural or organic to me. And so, you know, a lot of them opted to step away
Mm-hmm.
or, you know, do something completely different. And then you have people, you know, executive producing other artists
Mm-hmm.
and creating labels and doing other projects. And MC Lyte, to her credit, using her gift, which was her voice, you know, started making those moves, which I think has really laid the foundation for her being the powerhouse that she is right now. Do you want to do our number twos? Because I
Let's
think
do
we're
it. Oh, I
really,
forgot. Oh my God. We
yeah,
got number twos. We got so into MC Lyte and
yeah.
talking about her career. Thank you, Sir
So
Daniel.
you first,
Okay,
you
so I'll
first.
go first. So my number two, King of Chill produced Stop, Look, Listen from MC Lyte's second record. Um, honestly, okay, this was a hard three to come to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of joints that MC Lyte has that I like really enjoy, but I picked Stop, Look, Listen for a reason. Stop, Look, Listen, for whatever reason, that song evokes chill nighttime energy for me of, and it relaxes me. So Stop, Look, Listen um reminds me of like a peace, like peaceful moments in like the late 80s. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And it invokes like the feeling more than anything. And so it wasn't hard to pick this song, but it was just hard to figure out which song I was going to pick. And yeah, this one definitely lands at number two because it's dope. The beat is hard, the rhymes is solid. So yeah, Stop, Look, Listen by MC Lyte, produced by King of Chill. Um, and your number two.
My number two is a B side, kids. It's called "Why You Want to Get Fly," and it features another unsung MC, really dope MC called Isis, aka Lin Q,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called "Why You Want to Get Fly." It's a B side, and it's just straight up like roasting. I think what I really love about that song is that I remember it got played on WRAS here in Georgia, which is the Georgia State college radio station, Rhythm and Vibes. My whole high school, I was listening to them because that's where I would get all the hip hop that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And they played this B side because it was from a single on the Act Like You Know album, and it MC Lyte was on a mission. She was like, "Listen, I know y'all think I'm soft. I know y'all think I went soft because I'm dancing around now. I got makeup." She was like, "Nah, don't get it twisted. You know, bust a move, Master T. I heard you had it going on." And I mean, they immediately just start going in on this record. The beat is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think a lot of people thought that this record was an answer record to Roxanne Shantae's Big Mama. But I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that that came out. It just coincidentally came out around the same time
Mm-hmm.
because I think it was more of a response to the response that she was getting to softening her look and adding a little more dance music to her repertoire, because she says in the rhyme, she's like, yo, add a little makeup, made the people wake up, but that don't mean that I ever flaked up.
Mm-hmm.
Still, you want to know why you want to get fly. Those are the types. She wanted to know why y'all want to get fly on me.
Mm-hmm.
Why are y'all questioning my steez in this hip hop thing? I'm still MC Lyte. And Link Q is like still has a crazy delivery on that record.
Jeez.
So go to YouTube and check it out. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but it's a crazy, crazy record, a B side. I think I could find that on the 12 inch somewhere. But yeah, that's my number two pick of MC Lyte records.
Perfect. Do we want to just do our number ones and then we can continue on, or do we want to continue on and then come back to number ones? What you want to do?
Mm,
What you feeling?
let's go ahead and talk a little bit more before we do
Mm-hmm.
our number ones. So we left off talking about this pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the show, I call MC Lyte the speaker of the
Mm-hmm.
house of hip hop, for the reason we all know her for her voice now. Like, there's a whole generation that knows MC Lyte as the voiceover for all the BET awards, for Ford commercials, Ford car automobile commercials, for the
The Grammys.
Grammys.
The Grammys, y'all.
Ma was doing the voiceover for the Grammys. Like, it, MC Lyte, it's like her career from the very beginning. I don't know who put their hand on her or who prayed over her
Mm-hmm.
career, but somebody said we need to be very intentional at the very beginning of her career and move her in the right places, including acting in Hollywood,
Yes.
because that led to her getting all these gigs as a voiceover artist as well.
Yeah. Just think, and she also did the Emmys too. Like it's smart for, and I hope that for artists who are watching this show or listening to this show, everybody's not going to be Rihanna, you know what I'm saying, or Kanye or Jay-Z, or and have these super huge like breakout in this other way, right? Folks need to figure out ways to do what they do it differently. And what I love is that Light was like, no, I'm gonna still be in the entertainment business. I'm gonna just pivot and kind of do this other thing. Like, I also, to Wani's point, her voice is very distinctive. I have this really distinctive voice that I have trained to use, right?
Yep.
How do I then use this thing to do other things? And really leaning into it. And so I hope that folks look at what she's been able to do with her career and think, okay, what other stuff do I do when I begin to transition? Because hip hop is going to change again, right? Who's hot right now is likely not going to be hot in 5 years. It's very, Jay-Z is a unicorn. Like, you know,
Very much
nobody's
so.
hot that long. You know what I'm saying?
To that point, they're even trying to take stabs at Jay-Z now because of there's a song that he's featured up, a new Pusha T song,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's really trying to take shots at Jay right now, and they're like, the whole GOAT thing. They're trying to rethink that with Jay-Z now, but that's a whole
Whatever.
nother story. But you are correct. Like, hip hop is still, as long as it's been around, it's still doing this thing where we don't um we don't cherish all of our artists throughout the span of their
Nope.
lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
We cherish them for a minute. There's a shelf life for hip hop still, and I think we're trying to change that, and we're trying to get to a point where we can have um artists that we consider what do they call that, heritage artists,
Mm-hmm.
that we you can tour. That's starting to happen, that can tour on
Yeah.
their own and will speak to a specific crowd, specific demographic, and then the young people will have their thing. We're
Yep.
just now starting to get into that mode. And I just think MC Lyte super smart. She rolled with everybody. She rolled with the actors.
Mm-hmm.
She got in good with the Martins, the Tashina Arnolds, and the Tisha Campbells, and she moved correctly in all of those circles, and that's what got her a lot of those the acting gigs, I
Yep.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember there was a very short-lived television show on UPN, the
Mm-hmm.
You People Network. Remember they used to call it that?
They
And,
did. It earned it, honestly.
and it was called Platinum.
I
Yes.
vaguely remember. I never saw it. Never saw it. Don't know
Listen,
nothing about it.
it it was without Platinum, you couldn't have had Empire, you couldn't have had Power, you couldn't
Probably
have
not
had any
Queens and all of it.
Queens,
Mm-hmm.
none of those. That to its credit, and I don't even remember the people who were behind it, but it kind of flowed after, New York Undercover did a thing.
Mm-hmm.
New York Undercover really spoke to was a drama, a TV drama, but it spoke to the hip hop generation. And so building on that, that's how you got Platinum. And she acted as she was starring as a aging female rapper in the industry. And I was like, wow, I remember that scene distinctly because she did this monologue about what it's like to be a woman aging in the industry in rap.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, that's really heavy for MC Lyte. And it probably was art imitating life,
Mm.
in certain instances. And I wish I could find a clip from that show because I for sure would post it for y'all. But yeah, I just think that she's a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Like if people want to study how, you can have a career in this particular culture of hip hop, the things that must be done, you've got to put out impeccable product. You can't be afraid to do something different. And you just have to you work on your craft.
Mm-hmm.
Be about your craft first and foremost because you'll never hear her I you'll never hear her performing and not sound good to this day.
Absolutely.
I went to that Queens of Hip Hop concert here in Atlanta maybe about 4 years ago. She sounds immaculate. Sounds like the record.
Mm-hmm.
Never lost her breath. Having fun on stage. It was just a really great thing to see.
Yeah, man. And being able to then, to your point, right, being a steward of hip hop,
Hmm.
um now being able to take that and bring it into other cultural environments. So of course, with the work that she's doing with the Kennedy Center, and
Yes.
so the title of this show is I Am Woman, a celebration of women in hip hop, and the dates are it's actually Friday, April 15th, 8 p.m.
Yes.
We're going to drop a link in the chat for that.
That's at the Kennedy Center. Kids, they do the Kennedy honors every year at the Kennedy Center, and we're talking about people like your Maya Angelou's, your Aretha Franklin's, your Oprah's, Carole King. People like that get honored for their um, for the things that they put into the culture, for
Mhm.
their presentations to the culture. MC Lyte sits on a hip hop board and that has people like her, Large Professor,
Mhm.
Q-Tip, um, anybody who is anybody in the culture of hip hop, who is a gatekeeper, if you will,
Mhm.
sits on that board. And by being a part of these organizations, and that's another reason why I call her the speaker of the House of Hip Hop, is that she knows how to play that game.
Mhm.
She knows, I need to sit on this board. I need to be at this table. I need to be on the Grammy committee. I need to be on the Academy Awards board,
Mhm.
so I can make room for bring the people in that I've created this lane for. And so I just think it's super dope. The show features Yo Yo, Moni Love, the Brat, uh, I said Yo Yo, the Brat,
Mhm.
Moni Love, Remy Ma,
Mm-hmm.
Trina,
Mm-hmm.
who
Tierra
else?
Whack over there.
Tierra Whack, you know,
You know,
that
so she
representing the
got the
new
new, you know
school.
what I'm saying? Got the new school up in there, Rob Brown, um, Mama Soul, Mumu Fresh, and more. So we don't even know.
Who's gonna be stopping by?
Yeah. Like it's a
And be,
big deal.
it's a huge deal. I'm sure if MC Lyte says, "Hey," calls you and says, "I need you to come through," just come by and walk on stage for a minute. Who's gonna say no?
Cause if she called Q points, we going to DC.
We are there.
Right.
We are there on the first thing smoking.
Yeah.
Because MC Lyte's on the microphone.
Man.
Speaking of which, we're at number one, right?
We are at number one. Let's share our number ones. You want to go first?
Sure. My number one is for, I had to go back to the essence, to the beginning. My number one is MC Lyte, like swinging. Again, Stetsasonic on the production, it clears. It's
Mm-hmm.
like from the beginning of the song, it's it just the horns, the everything, the snares, these really loud snares,
Mm-hmm.
and kicks, and her on top of the beat, just riding the beat. It's definitely, it makes it my number one song. Like if I'm doing a set, I don't hear this song played in a lot of sets. People tend to stick to what they know about MC Lyte,
Mm-hmm.
and they only play specific songs. This is something that I would definitely play in a set, and people, you know it when you hear it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like it doesn't get enough love, and that's why I like representing for MC Lyte, like swinging. That's my number one pick.
Listen, dope track, of course, from the same album, Light as a
Mm-hmm.
Rock album. Also, another King of Chill produced joint, Paper Thin. Literally a
Listen,
classic Light track. Like it doesn't go wrong. I know all the lyrics. This is one of those joints that when you hear it, you just remember the rhymes.
mm-hmm.
Like it's so many punchlines in this joint. It goes like
The
I don't
ha
know.
ha ha ha. The
And you know
video is dope.
the video is dope. The other interesting thing, and I don't, if MC Lyte sees this, we probably just put this, if MC Lyte sees this or anybody else from the team sees this, why, I am not sure why they extended Paper Thin so long. It goes 5 minutes, but she only raps for like 2.5. So
And the
I'm
last part of the song is all the dub.
is all the dub
Adam.
stuff, and I'm curious to know if maybe that was just for DJs and like people could rhyme over it. It was just an interesting choice. I'm really curious about it. Um, but yeah, Paper Thin is my number one joint by MC Lyte.
That's a great question, because I've always wondered the same thing too. Because it was like, yeah, you could actually rap along to it if you know. I'm sure everybody knows the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually start the whole song all over again and
Right.
rap straight through to it. Have you noticed that that song there's no chorus, there's no
Nope.
break. It's
Mm-mm.
just straight rhyming through. Um, I know a lot of dudes know it and can rap along to it. Pharrell says that's his favorite song.
Yeah.
Like Paper Thin is his Pharrell, the producer. That's his favorite joint. Like he says, it's the best hip hop song ever. I've heard him say.
Yeah, and you actually bring up a point that I forgot about when we were talking about the Light as a Rock record. Is Nicki Minaj studied this because one of the things that Nicki has always done really well, and it's why she does well with guys, is guys could rap Nicki joints and not feel weird about it.
Yeah.
Paper Thin has that exact same thing where a dude could rap that whole joint and not feel like, I mean, I wouldn't feel weird about it anyway, but you know how some dudes with patriarchy make you do a
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
not with Paper Thin. You'd be like, no, 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 no. When you say you love me, it doesn't matter. It goes into my head as just chit chatter. Like, you know what you can just rap that.
That's the perfect opening line.
It
When
really
you say
is.
you love me, it doesn't matter. Perfect opening line. Perfect. And then the sample is a
Yep.
Prince sample from 17 Days, slowed down. So that you can't go wrong with that song. You really can't. And
Man.
I could have said that for my number one too, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be let me be different. I'm gonna let J Ray have that one. Let me be different.
J Ray
But
can
no,
pick Paper Thin.
but Paper Thin really is a perfect song.
It
It's a
is.
perfect hip hop song. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, congratulations to MC Lyte for her career. And Sir Daniel, you are absolutely right. She is the speaker of the house of hip hop. That is
Yes.
her new designation. Say Q Point said it.
We said it. We coined the term. If I had a gavel, I would hit the gavel down and say it is done. So saith the shepherd, so saith the flock.
Listen, y'all, make sure that you go ahead and become a Q Points insider on our website. It gives you an opportunity to see some other content. In fact, Key Turner's on there talking about her love of MC Lyte. So you can watch that video, which is super dope. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, which is a perfect place if you have an Android too, which is really dope. So if you have specifically a Samsung Android, if you swipe left and go over to Samsung Free and look under your music podcast, you will find Q Points there.
Here we are.
Here we are. We're right there, right in your phone. Make sure that you go over to Podchaser and please leave us a review over there. I will say it again. It truly does help us to get discovered because Podchaser reviews hit other websites. So it keeps Q Points top of mind for people who might be looking for shows like us. And for those folks that are joining us, listening anywhere or joining us to watch anywhere else, make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube.
That's right. Yes, Lorenzo in one ear, right out the other. But but I don't want you to let this information go in one ear and right out the other. Sugar Honey on the Rocks will be back.
Really? When is it coming back? This Saturday?
Not this Saturday, but Saturday, April 16th, I believe. Yes. Right before Easter Sunday, I'm resurrecting some records, some jams, and I'm going to do, another Sugar Honey on the Rocks live mix, all vinyl, featuring all of your favorite Black women artists, but maybe a dash of Ivory Queen in there. a little Tina Marie there, a little something here and there. But yes, I had such a great time. I'm just doing this just because I like spinning vinyl and I like that particular putting together mixes featuring Black women in music. So if you're not a subscriber on Mixcloud, please just hit me up on Mixcloud, mixcloud.com/the Sir Daniel. Hit that subscribe button, and I will be there on Saturday, April 16th at 2 p.m. So if you're on the West Coast, you got more than enough time to get up and join me.
Dope. Sugar Honey on the Rocks is a whole thing. Make sure y'all be in the spot. We put the link in the chat and we will put it in the description as well. Yo, this has been an amazing show, Sir Daniel.
This has been a fun show. You tell me, you say talk about MC Lyte, talk about any of these rap artists, and I'm on go.
Right.
And that's what we're going to do. But that's what Q Points is all about. So, but you know what I always tell the kids, J. Ray? In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And I'm J. Ray, y'all.
Peace. This has been Q Points. We'll see you next week.